Welcome to the Tao of Pizza, where we feature top logistics leaders, entrepreneurs, and supply chain innovators and share their inspiring stories with a holistic twist.
Mark Hiddleson here, host of the Tao of Pizza podcast, where I interview top innovators in the supply chain industry with a holistic twist. Today, we're joined by game-changing sales coach, Joe Pallo. He and I are going to talk about growing your business by making the emotional sale and generating referrals. Before I introduce Joe, this episode is brought to you by Specialized Storage Solutions. And look, I've been in the logistics and storage industry for several decades, and I still love solving interesting problems with my clients. And what we do is we provide industry-leading warehouse storage solutions nationwide. So basically, you have a warehouse that needs racks, shelving, carts, conveyors, or mezzanine. We help with design, engineering, installation, inspections, and repairs to help our clients optimize their logistics operations. And Joe, it's funny, sometimes people don't realize we actually help with permit acquisition services. We take a holistic look at your entire business supply chain ecosystem to develop the resources for continually improving your operation. To learn more, visit specialracks.com or give us a call at 707-732-3892, or even give out my personal email address for podcast listeners. It's markhiddleson@aol.com. So reach out if you're ready to take your warehouse storage and retrieval systems to the next level. And I also have to give one more shout out before I introduce today's guest. He was introduced to us by Vicky Dellojoyo. She is a life-changing workshop leader, or energy master teacher, and an inspirational speaker. Her brand of brilliance has empowered wellness-motivated and spiritually inclined seekers to infuse body, mind, spirit practices into their very selves so that they can tap into their birthright of joy and use it as a fuel for a lifetime. You can check out the 2 interviews we did with Vicky on the past episodes or learn more at vickydellojoyo.com. Well, today we're joined by Joe Pallo, who since 2017 is been a sales coach and game-changing trainer to top producers. Joe has guided his clients to double or triple their production without working harder. His emphasis on mastering the art of making an emotional connection during any sale makes a dramatic, favorable impact on the bottom line and beyond. Until you're okay with selling nothing, you won't sell anything. Joe is an Amazon best-selling author of How to Sell Nothing, the logical way to make the emotional sale, the salesperson's guide to what really happens during a sale. He is a master in the art of emotional sales, referrals, and the creator of the E.A.R.N.I.N.G, acronym E.A.R.N.I.N.G, sales system. Joe, welcome to the Tao of Pizza.
Good to be here, Mark. Thanks.
Yeah. So I have to say more about Vicky. She's one of those magical people. I've known her. I've been lucky to know her for, when I started my master's, the program was about 30. Every time I say the years, it's unbelievable, about 34 years ago. But, and with this work and the emotional sale and anything, I really learned so much from Vicky, and I've been in sales. I've been looking forward to this interview because I've been in sales since then, and I'm a student of it. So I can't wait for you to share. But I have to give I can't give any better shout out than Vicky. When she introduced us, it's like, yeah, I want to meet this guy. Right?
Well, 2 things. I'm a little bit jealous that you've known Vicky for 30 plus years. I've just got maybe 2. So that's not really fair. I'll take it. But she is awesome. And I'm of the mindset, if Vicky says you should meet someone, I'm meeting that person. Just there's no really question or doubt.
Yeah. So thank you for having the same kind of energy and tenacity that I have about that. And she's introduced me to a few other guests. I mean, those are great podcasts to check out. Bonnie Artman Fox, Leanne Monahan. But let's get into this. I can't wait to talk to you about selling nothing, because one of the books I wanted to write is Sell Without Selling. So I think we're both on the same page. But I wanted to ask, how did you get into, what was the journey to get you to where you are now in the earning system?
Well, I mean, I started selling. I sold books door to door for 6 years and recruited and trained people. So that's kind of where I learned the process. And it was educational books. And it kind of got drilled into me or I figured it out. The books are kind of a commodity. What we're really selling was education. How can you help your kids? And that's where the whole process came in, was selling nothing. It doesn't really matter the product, it's the relationship. It's what they want and why they want it. I want my clients to tell me that. If they tell me what they want, they tell me why I want it, I just sell that. Just makes it so much simpler.
Yeah, it really does. And that way you can find out real early if you don't have it, then you can say it's a great way to part ways, saying it's in both of your best interest to pursue other alternatives, right? And
I agree. I
yeah,
strive never to speak, teach, train, sell, or coach until I get them emotionally engaged. That's my job. And if I don't do that, I really don't have the right to ask for the order. And if I can't get them to say what they want and why they want it, I'm probably not going to close. Um, it's just not worth it. And you've probably done it. And there are some people that, not bragging, but I do probably have a skill set where I could talk people into making the sale. But when you do that, you're going to have to resell them in another 3 months and resell them another 6 months. And there's headaches along with it. So if I can't get them engaged on the front end, and again, that's my job as a salesperson, I'm not going to close.
yeah, and I learned that early on in my career. Well, let me rephrase that. I knew about that early in my career, but I did it anyway. So it's funny when someone says
Sure.
I knew about that. I knew it, but I kept doing it.
Yeah.
Uh, and you buy yourself, and there's two sides. I'm glad you brought that up. It was one of the first. I've been trained by really talented salespeople and taught a system that you can use it. And one of my boss said, you have to be careful because you can use it to manipulate people, sales, like a lot of this, and the emotional part is you have to make sure your heart's in the right place, that you
Yeah.
go and that you're not doing this stuff. But when you do, and I tell people too, it's not because I'm a great guy, but when you do that, it causes problems down the road, right? Because you've forced something that wasn't a natural fit. Um, so that's a great point, and it leads into my question. I love the title of or the subtitle, making the illogical way to make the emotional, because that seems like a paradox, right? It's emotional,
Yeah.
but it's logical. So share a little bit about that because I love that.
Well, I am a simple guy. I probably should say that better, but I try to keep things real simple. Us in sales, there's two sales that need to be made, or two buckets that need to be made. You have the logical bucket or logical sale, the emotional bucket, the emotional sale. You get them both filled, you'll get the next step. So we understand that. And I ask you, if I ask all my clients and I ask you, of the two buckets, logical, emotional, which one's more important? The emotional. We know that because that makes things happen, that makes a decision. People have to be emotionally engaged. The logical bucket confirms it, and it's also important. Um, but let's look at the buckets. The logical bucket is filled with my voice. I'm the salesperson, I'm the expert. And I've got a marketing department behind me, and I've got all the pitches and all the talks, and I got all the points, and my voice fills up that bucket. The emotional bucket is filled up with their voice. It's what they want and why they want it. And emotions are weird and fickle things, and they change all the time. Sometimes they don't make sense, but it's filled up with their voice. And again, looking back at the buckets, the logical bucket is finite. Like you have a bucket full of water, you can't put any more water in. You have a client logically sold, you can't sell logic anymore. And we've all had these meetings where we go out and have a great sales presentation. They're laughing at my jokes, they're asking questions, and they come back and say, Joe, well, can you come back in 2 weeks and I want to see your proposal? It's a great sale. Both buckets were filled. I got the next step. When I come back in 2 weeks, that meeting's different. How many times have we had a great meeting the first week? 2 weeks later, we come in and it's like, this is different. I'm sitting on a block of ice. This isn't fun. And he's looking at his watch and his arms are crossed. And I was looking at his computer, and you walk out of there with, I need to think about it. What happens is that emotional bucket, again, filled with their voice, that has holes in it. When I get them emotionally engaged on that first meeting, when I come back 2 weeks later or 2 months later, that's empty. The biggest mistake that salespeople do is they go right into selling logic and they're already full. And you hear, well, call me back next quarter. Call me back next quarter. So that's where the earning piece came in, where you walk them through a process to get them to fill up their emotional bucket, what they want and why they want it. Because I need to close on that in 5 minutes or 5 weeks or 5 months.
Nice. And so what is now I wanted to jump into the earnings right away. What do you think's the best way to go through, or do we have to buy the book? I haven't read your book yet because we just met about a week ago. I'm
Sure.
gonna get that book because I dreamed of writing a similar book. I really think, selling without selling or selling nothing. I think it's the future for sure. I think because what's weird is I think people will say they don't want to be sold, but I
But they
think they
love to
really
buy.
do. What's that?
But they love to buy.
Yeah,
People don't want
exactly.
to be sold, but they love to buy.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So if you can stop selling, you can make space. You can create space for the buyer.
Right.
So how would you like to dive into what's the E? Does it have anything?
Well, there's two things. I'll say something first, and then I'll jump
Yeah.
into it.
Yeah.
Um, the, uh, the the premise is whoever's talking is buying. In a selling situation, if I'm trying to sell you and I'm talking more than you are, I'm buying your objections, whatever they are.
Yeah.
If I get you talking more than me, you're buying whatever's in my bag. And the earning process is a way to do that. And it started from the concept that, it's like the night before a battle. You have your battle plan and everything's all organized and makes sense. The battle starts, you take the plan and chuck it out the windows. Well, just like a sales call.
Yeah.
We have a sales call. We think it's going to go that way. They don't know it and they mess it up. So
Yeah.
it's an acronym to help us go through that. Ideally, it should go in this order, but it doesn't. But each letter stands for a topic that I should address. You don't have to, but you should be aware of it. So the E, it's earning because I have to earn the right to ask for the next step. The E just stands for I need to evaluate their current reality. That's your data gather. That's where you're asking questions. I look at it. If I'm selling a similar product, an apples to apples comparison, I have to ask you enough questions so I know what type of apples you have. If I'm showing you something different, apples to oranges, I still need to ask enough questions to know what type of apples you have. It's your data gather. I think we do pretty good at that part. We find out
Yeah.
what they currently have. So that's the E, evaluate their current reality. The A is what are the advantages? What do they like about their current vendor? And Mark, I get pushback from
Yeah.
that, and I'm saying, Joe, I don't want to ask that. I'm talking them into staying with their current guy,
Yeah.
and I love asking that. It's for three reasons. One, I get different results because I do things different. My clients get different results because we do things different. That's one reason. Two, asking what they like about their current vendor, that screams confidence.
Yeah.
Business is given to confident people. The
Yeah.
biggest reason, whatever they say they like, they're literally telling me they're hot buttons.
Yeah.
I'm not going to know unless I know. If they say I like customer service, I'm thinking in the back of my mind, I got to sell customer service when it comes to the close. That's the E and the A.
Yeah.
Um,
Or even
R,
asking for examples. And I love this because the the emotional part of people will think like you're trying to connect to their emotions or anything, but like asking that question, it takes courage because a lot of emotional when you bring that up, and that's what I was lucky enough to work with Vicky 20 years ago in her practices, and that's when to be centered and there's a there's a little more courage there when you ask that question.
absolutely.
You're open for the result. You're not, oh, I hope I say this. I hope I say this. Like, I hope they tell me the truth,
Yeah.
whatever it is, and I'm ready for it.
Yeah.
So I think that's a great one. And I think on going through the steps, I think one of the reasons we skip steps in sales, and I still do it, I know,
Sure.
if this fear monster fed the fear dog too much, and then you skip something because even though you need to know the answer, it's like, it's a little pain there. So
Or you think you have it already. I don't need to ask that question. That'll bite you in the butt every time.
yeah, you're looking to find out that what you already know instead of
Yeah.
being curious. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So this is great. I love this journey so far. So it's evaluate, and then the
Yeah.
A.
And advantages. What are the advantages of what they currently have or what they're currently doing?
Yeah, yeah. And by asking them who they're currently doing business with. Another one is people are getting multiple bids. I always want to find out if they're getting multiple bids, but I want to be careful because if they're not getting any other bids, which is a lot of times the case in ours because it's a referral, which we're going to get into
Right.
referrals later,
Right.
but you still want to ask questions to find out what they like about other ways that they've done whatever your solution you're proposing in the past. So,
Absolutely. And I think we miss it. I mean, they literally, I just think, hey, I got to close it. When I close, I got to have some of that, whatever that is, but I need to know what that is.
Yeah. Because it might not make sense to you, but it makes sense to them. And that's all that counts. Yeah.
There you go. Yep.
Yeah. Nice. So
it's E.A.R. We just stick to R is revise. What do we want to change? This is the major reason why they're going to go forward. And I don't lead off with it. I want to evaluate the current reality, ask what they like. Then I bring this up. We know it's coming. And this part, I actually think nowadays we're too busy. If I'm sitting and talk to somebody about their sales, they have a problem. Otherwise, I would not be there. Mm-hmm. And it just, that's maybe it's my mindset. Maybe it's the confidence I bring to it. But I'm talking to somebody, even if it's referral, they have a problem. Otherwise, we wouldn't have that meeting. So that's the revised. What do they want to change? What needs to happen? What do they need to fix? That's first N is no. Who else can say no? Who else needs to be involved? Who are the decision makers? One of the worst things in sales, we go through, we give our presentation. That sounds good, Joe. I got to go talk with my boss and see what she wants. It's like, oh, great. Now I got to come back in 2 weeks or 2 months and do my dog and pony. Or worse, you're going to sell my product for me and you're not an expert on it. And you're going to sell me for me and you're not an expert on it. There are some times, can't do it all the time. I'll back out of a presentation without closing if I don't have them there. Sometimes you can't, but or maybe I won't give the price. Again, you got to be respectful and do it appropriately and professionally. But I want to know who else can say no.
Yeah. Or even if you finish that presentation, instead of closing for the order, what you're closing for is the meeting that you want.
Yeah.
That you can get, right? Because you're not going to skip a step.
No, again, it'll bite you in the butt if you do.
Yeah. Nice.
So that's the first end. If you want one piece you can apply tomorrow that will impact your business, and you can do it at any step, any part of the sale, or any type of communication, eyes interpret back what they just said.
Yes.
Just say, hey, and this is exactly what I'd say. If I was talking to you, I'd say, hey, Mark, just for clarity, can I just repeat back what you just said? And I really don't even wait for an answer. I just jump in and I'll go on a 1 or 2 minute rant of reading all of the E, A, and R. Everything they just told me, I'm repeating it back to them. And what that does, you'll hear things like, crap, Pallo, you said it better than I did. Just repeating what they, and mentally, I'm on their side of the table. And I have not even started selling. It's like, yeah, this guy gets me. That is a big part. Interpret back. It clarifies everything. You may have heard something wrong, but it clarifies. But big thing is they're thinking, this guy's, he's interested in me. And it's part of the relationship there, the emotion right then and there.
Yeah. And I think when I do that right, most of the time there is something that I've messed up because I've read my autobiography into their answer. And then that's a great time. It clarifies it. And you're just that much further. Because most of the time you don't nail it on the first round. And maybe you do. I go, I heard what you said about this and that you like that. And they're like, well, no, like you got this part right. But, or just saying it in their words, clarifying. I mean, that is awesome. And I wanted to back up. So the N was the no, like who can say no?
Who else? Yeah. Who else needs to be involved? Who are the decision makers? Who can say no to this?
So I'll put you on the spot. So what are some great questions that you can ask? Because that's another one that's emotionally sensitive. Like you're working with somebody, you've made the connection and it's like, do you need to talk to your boss is probably a bad way to say it. One of the ways I've said, who else will be involved in the decision-making process of this project? Yeah. That's one question.
I strive to be real simple. I say, hey, you know what? I'll jump in the role play here. And I do it all the time with my clients. Sometimes I don't tell them, I jump in and out. I don't bring them along, but I'm telling you, let's just say that you need to check with your boss. Oh, that's the objection. Okay. And
Joe, all this looks great. Thank you for coming in. I'm going to show this to my boss and we'll get back to you in 2 weeks.
That's good. Hey, can I ask a question though? Sure. With what you do, and I've done my research on you, but I just know a little bit about it, so I may be off. So give me a little bit of latitude.
Yeah.
So you're helping. It's like if you're going to a warehouse and you got to build all the shelvings and all the conveyor belts for the whole piece. Yeah. That's a pretty big process, correct?
Yeah.
And you need a lot of numbers, and you don't want to come in and say, hey, here's the numbers. And you find out, oh, they got a second floor. We need more. It's going to change your numbers. You're not going to look professional.
Right.
Is that true with how you do your business? You want to get all the information first before
you got to get everything up front. Yeah. Yeah.
That's kind of the same way with me. would we be able to apply that same process here and come back and meet with your boss and we'll go through the whole thing again and make sure we get everything the way that they want it?
Well, he's really busy, and he put me in charge of this project. So I kind of wanted to be able to get what I can get from you, and I still need to hear from somebody else. But I really like you. I can tell you've done your homework. But
Yeah. No, it's, and I appreciate that. And that's actually what they want to do. But if this is a big project for them, we want to make sure we do it right and we get it done on time in the way they want it. Do you agree with that?
yeah, the timing is critical to my boss.
Okay.
That's actually one thing he told me. Timing is the number one thing.
Okay. Well, if that's the case, let's save a step. And there may be things that he's not even conveying to you. Let's get all the key players on the table, get it all out. I could spin it up and get it back to you first, but otherwise we're kind of chunking at it. And not just working on one floor. Like again, in your business, we're working on the ground floor, but now I got to work on the second floor. And you have someone else on the third floor, and they all have different specifications. Let's just get everyone on the same page.
Yeah.
So again, you're putting me on the spot. I appreciate that.
I love it. You said role play. You said the word role play, and I think it's one of the things.
I did not know what I was getting into.
You were great, Joe. That is awesome because I did. I said I warned you. I said I was going to put you on the spot, and then it had to be my word. Like that's the other thing. If you say you're going to do something, you have to do it.
Yep.
So thank you for doing that because I think we role play in our company every single employee because my thing is, and I do it. Like if I have to make a tough phone call and I know it's going to be tough, you're going to be on my list now too. I might call you and say, "Hey, Joe, role play this with me," because it's a skill, and you find out where the emotions are, or the things, or possibly the things you're missing. I think a lot. I think role playing is well, it's a lot of fun. If it could be embarrassing, right? You could be on the spot, but it's a great way to build that skill. And I say it's in a non-threatening environment, but I guess podcasts. We're recording this. The stakes are kind of high. So that was awesome. And who are the no's? And then interpreting. I love those two, and it's right in the middle of your process. So I'm ready for the other N.
The N is nothing. What if nothing changes? And I ask this to create a sense of urgency. So I always want to think about it, whatever. And 9 times out of 10, their answer, it's going to be fluff. There's nothing there. So I will ask, well, what else? I mean, I'm going to push them. I mean, the two most underused words in sales are what else? And they're the most valuable too. But they're saying, well, we'll just be the same part. Like we'll have the same problems next year. Well, what else? How does that affect your growth? And I will just dig in on that because again, I need that sense of urgency. So nothing, N stands for nothing. What if they do nothing?
Wow. And then the what else? So the what else is a key. And that's another one that I love to use. I had a client that used to do that to me all the time. He used to drive me crazy. But what else? I mean, that's it, Greg. But it was kind of it's a good process because whenever I ask my team, I ask what else a lot. That seems like there always is. There's something else that's important.
Yep.
So that's nothing. And then so the G.
G is the gain. What is the pay value? Now we can start talking about that. And you notice this whole process is done right at the beginning. I have not even started talking about what I do. That's where the essence of how to sell nothing. It doesn't matter at that point. Whatever your product or service is, they've just told me a ton of information. My demo is just tailored to that. One of the biggest things in mistakes in sales is people come in and do the show up, throw up. They puke about themselves and how they are. I love saying that on a call or a conversation. And I've said it. I'm a process guy. If I was talking to you, I'd say, hey, Joe, what do you do? Tell me what you do. I do sales coaching and executive level training. But if it's all right, can I skip over the part where I brag about myself about how good and great and wonderful I am? I'd like to ask you some questions. I literally say that. Yeah. And they smile and they chuckle. It's just, hey, is it all right if I skip over the part where I brag about myself about how good and great and wonderful I am? I'd like to ask you some questions. They'll chuckle, they'll go back in, and I'm right at earning. That's why I bring it up right away. Yeah. It really doesn't matter. They don't care about me and what I've done.
Right. It's irrelevant. It's whatever their pain is, whatever they've asked you there in the first place. Yeah. So the G is so a little bit more about the game.
Let's say that I'm working with someone and it can save them 5 hours, the process. We're going to sell them a service and take 5 hours off their out of their week.
Okay.
So let's just say, and I'm talking to you, I'll jump in the role play now. So Mark, let's say if we did this, and from what you're saying, if this problem was solved, that would free up about 5 hours of your week. Is that right? Is that what you said?
Yeah, when we looked at it, that's how it penciled out. Yeah.
What would you do with those 5 hours?
That's great. Well, probably the first thing that came to my mind is my surfboard or my snow skis.
So now we have a sense of urgency.
Yeah. Yeah.
May not be work related, but we got a sense of urgency.
Yeah. Yeah. So in business, I could say, I've really been wanting to start another division that I know it's important in our industry that we should have been doing, but I haven't had the time or talent or resources to go after it. So in business,
What would that, tell me a little bit about that division. What would that division be?
so for us, it would be a complete safety and repairs division where we'd go in and people have, safety issues in their warehouse. And I think it's a big one, and I think it would be good for our company, it'd be good for our clients. But it's something you have to be really good at. You have to know the engineering side. There's a lot of training, marketing, and then if you're going to do it on a scale, you really have to have the right training systems in place to pull it off.
So this could be a product you can cross sell to all of your old clients. It could be that valuable.
Absolutely. Yes. Yeah.
That's the game. I'll step back out of role play.
Yeah. And
again, I don't even know I very little of what you do, but that's just kind of how my mind works.
But that's what I would do with an extra 5 hour. I mean, honestly, the surfboard, I've always one of my it's not on the list. I guess it'd be in the either the E or the A in your list. One of the things I've always thought is you have to sell yourself first. And when I say sell yourself, I don't mean selling yourself to somebody else. I mean selling yourself on yourself.
Yeah.
Why am I the one? Why do they want to deal with me? What makes me different? And believe it and have it be something. And where I've gotten a lot of that is in my hobbies. Some of my hobbies like surfboarding or going to weekend workshops with people like Vicky or martial arts or things that I think. And it was funny, I realized a lot of my big aha moments or things in business would come up while I was doing one of those things to solve this big, important problem I wasn't really thinking about. And then, pow. So I would joke with my customers, like if in my regular working hours, I'm $100 an hour, but if I'm on my surfboard, it's $200 an hour. That time is valuable. And I think your product does save people time, right? I mean, isn't that one of the gain in the G? That's one of your biggest or the biggest, right? Is make triple without working harder or more hours.
I'm not the guy who says you need to work more hours.
Yeah.
But it's been said that I get more out of people than they think's in them. And it's not working more hours. It's helping figure out what's important, why they want it. And we break that down to that specific duplicatable activity. And it's done, 3 days a week or whatever their schedule is, or whatever they need.
Yeah. Yeah. So the other one that I think, and this is what we promised to talk about, generating referrals, right? Creating a huge referral stream. So one of the questions is a great to ask is why do people, I mean, I'm a huge referral fan. I have a lot of, I can't wait to hear your thing on referrals. This I'm like a little kid at Christmas, but why do you think most people are passive about referrals and end up, potentially?
I think, well, let's look at it this way. When you started selling, you sucked at everything. You were horrible. We all were, right?
And that's why people bought from me for the beginning of like
the pity sale, the puppy dog sale. But through experience, we started out horrible, and like I say, there's 10 little cycles, 10 parts of the sale. Through experience and focused, we've gotten pretty good. Maybe it's establishing trust or creating a buying atmosphere or closing or asking questions. On a scale of 1 to 10, we're up here. We're at a 10. We're really good at it. When it comes to referrals, 98% of us are still rookies. We've never let this one part of your business get on par with everything else. And that's where the growth happens. I mean, most people, when they ask for referrals, are very passive. They'll say, I'd kind of maybe like to have a business card if it's not too much trouble. Oh, never mind. Here's one of my business cards. Yeah. And they're just, referrals are given to confident people. Yeah. So that's the first concept. And it's our thinking has to change first. When I do my coaching, I'm not just going to come in and say, here's 3 ways to ask for referrals. it's our thinking. We have to be intentional about referrals.
Yeah.
We have to realize there's nothing passive about referrals. Referrals are given to confident people, and referrals are more important than the sale. I'll even repeat that.
Absolutely.
Referrals are more important than the sale.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. As it goes on. I wanted to talk more about it. It starts, and I was lucky, like I said, I was lucky. I had somebody who trained me on this 25 years ago. I was knew it was important. Uh, but I've always, whenever I ask people how, one of the reasons I do or ways I do it is, how'd you hear about us? And
Mhm.
a lot of times I ask, even if I know, because it's one of those things I want to ask just to make sure that I have it right. And whatever their answer is, I always say 95% of our business comes from referral or repeat business. So I always want to know who to give a thank you to or who to give a shout out to. So even if it's not a referral, the first
Yeah.
thing I like to say is it's just 95% of what we do is referral, because I want to start from there. And the other thing, you're saying the referral is more important. It's like, I'm not really trying to close for that sale for that day. I'm trying to close for, 20, 30 year relationship.
This happened years ago. I worked with a company called Tom James. They sell custom clothing. Great company, but it's set your own appointments with CEOs, C-level people.
Uh,
And I went out and pitched a guy. This was at Luth and Brother. They're now Thrivent Financial. And his name's Lyle Hemmingson. And he said no. He did not buy anything from me. So I got to know. We got it all recorded. I heard a no. I'm not that good of a salesperson. I do get
yeah.
no's. But he gave me 4 referrals. 18 months later, I had 80 clients at Thrivent Financial. The same
Wow.
thing happened at St. Paul Company, St. Paul Travelers Insurance here in Minnesota.
Yeah.
And they're now out in New Jersey, and they're called Travelers. But I sent Mike Conroy a mailer. I called him, got an appointment, sold him a suit, had not even delivered the suit because it takes 6 weeks to make it. So I just literally collected the cash and asked him for referrals. He gave me 3 referrals. 2 years later, I had 150 clients at St. Paul Company. I had my own parking spot. I had my own ID badge. There is no way their business could have equated to what it was. And neither one of them actually got the feel or try my product. Referrals are given because they like me.
Yeah.
Relationship.
And so I love that. And that you were in the apparel business. My dad was in the apparel. He worked for Farrah Slacks in the 70s and 80s, where there was still manufacturing in the States. They were
Mhm.
have you heard of Farrah?
I,
Have
I
you
think
heard of
I've heard of it. Yeah.
Yeah, so they used to
And
sell to like Macy's and Mervyn's. They were kind of like a higher end, made in America stuff. But I love that. And still, if I go to a Nordstrom's, I love meeting somebody who can look at and know you and sell. I want to be sold. Like like
yeah,
people want to buy. I love the salespeople that I meet.
sure.
Uh, yeah, and I was trying to think of my first sales experiences before we talked, and one of them was working sample sales with my dad, because my dad would have all these samples and he'd go to these sales. And so I learned, and you could negotiate. That was when I was like 12 or 13 years old. I was like, wait a minute, you don't just set the price and that's it.
Yep.
So I love, because he brought up something I actually forgot about, is if you don't get the sale, ask for a referral. Right.
Absolutely.
So give us an example. And if we want to jump into role playing, but okay, Joe, you didn't buy from us,
All
but we
right.
had a great connection, right? I mean, we saw a lot of opportunities here. Do you know of anyone else who may be able to benefit from these services we provide?
Well, I mean, if I could back up and
Yeah,
I'll
yeah,
throw
yeah,
a
yeah,
step that I strive to do, and I coach on this. We'll just flip it around where either you bought from your client or you haven't.
yeah,
But I'd say, Mark, just curious, if I could, let's just say it's the first time we've met,
yeah,
and you haven't really experienced my product. You just know me, and for whatever reason, you like me.
yeah.
Who knows?
Because
Go figure.
Vicky introduced us.
Yeah, yeah, that's
You already started like up here. Yeah.
um, well, Mark, just curious, just based on what we talked about today, I know you haven't really experienced or tried anything. What were some things that appealed to you about what we talked about? What did you like about what we talked about?
Oh man, I loved what you were talking about, saving time and being able to start this other division. Uh, I kind of got excited about that.
Okay, what else?
Just your approach. Well, I think you're straightforward, and we didn't end up using you, but I like that you helped us identify some key areas that we weren't looking at that other people did. It was just, um, I think you're professional. I appreciate your professionalism, your approach, and everything like
Yeah.
that.
So very good. You like, because one, we could help you out with that, change it over to change a new division. save time, pointing out some things that you didn't really wear that could help you out, and have a good approach.
Yeah.
Mark, who are 3 people that appreciate those things?
Basically everyone, the successful, busy people that I know. Yeah.
But I got you to say what you liked about me. That's out there first. Those, whatever you like about me, are the exact same reasons why you should give me 3 or 4 referrals.
Yeah.
And I ask for a specific number every time.
Yeah. And I'm actually even thinking about people I could refer you to. I'm talking about this for a minute. But there's times when I meet salespeople all the time because, under the company we're getting pitched. And there are times where I think, wow, this is great. It's not really for us, but we have 1,000 clients and I'll have, a network, my network. That's another thing I think about getting referrals is to give referrals.
Yeah. Oh,
and so train myself to kind of hear what people are saying. It's like, no, this doesn't work for us, or it's trucking companies, because we're doing 100 loads a month. So like I've got clients that are doing 3,000 loads a month. So, whatever benefit could be for me could be for them. And I think that's a great, and people don't ask me that. It's not, it's like you said, most people aren't, because I'll even be thinking about it because I'm training myself to refer, but salespeople that approach me, they're not, it's kind of like, we're not a match. That's it.
Yeah. It's when it comes to the referral piece, we wing our ask. Think about it. When you have a sales presentation, you pretty much know what you're going to say. When it comes to referrals, you don't even have the battle plan. You're just running up the hill and, hey, who do you know?
Yeah.
It's a sale. The referral ask is a sale. So therefore, we got to treat it like a sale. It's more important than the sale. So we still got to treat that way. We got to walk through them through a process. And once you get them, you said this earlier, you gave me three names. I called them all 3, and all 3 of them said no. I owe you a call back. It's a great voicemail. Hey, Mark, thanks a lot. Appreciate you giving me 3 names last week. Connected with them. Looks like they're taken care of. They're good guys. Talk to you later. Because your mind goes, well, who else do I know? I've just planted the seed for the next time I see you. Or if you gave me all 3 referrals, all 3 of them became clients or took a meeting, I owe you a call back. Because your mind goes, well, who else do you think? And I'll say something like when I'm done getting referrals, I'll say, hey, Mark, I'll let you know which ones hung up when I mention your name. Just a little bit of humor, but that tells you I'm going to give you the feedback. And again, I owe you that. Something else, and this is a big piece. Right now, when it comes to referrals, a name and a number is not enough. We're too busy. You have people, you got a stack of business cards in your desk drawer, your dresser at home, on your dashboard of your car of good referrals. You may have called them, but you can't get in or left a message, and you don't throw them away. And we have to get something to make that referral more valuable. So I don't count it as a referral unless I get a silver bullet.
Share with me what that is.
I'm glad you asked.
Yeah, I want to hear about the silver bullet.
Because a silver bullet is something that allows me to draft off the referee's relationship onto that first voicemail or first call or first meeting. I need to draft off of their relationship. So the definition is it's something that I know that an average Joe on the street doesn't know. So let's just say you refer me to Bill Anderson. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I'll ask you, how long have you known Bill? What levels are you at? What, the generic questions. And that's good. Most people stop there. And then I'll change and I'll say, hey, just curious, what type of decision maker is Bill? Is he a numbers guy, or is he a driver, or is he a talker? That gets you thinking about him. And I want you thinking about him. And that's good information.
Yeah.
If he says he's a talker, when I'm talking to him on the phone, I got to let him get his words out. Or if he says he's a numbers guy, I got to have a lot of facts. Or if he's a driver, I got like 5 seconds to catch his attention, and I'm going to get 7 more, and then maybe 8 more, but I got to let him be in control. But that's good to know. So that's my first part of my silver bullets.
Is that why I'm only giving you 7 seconds? Because I'm a driver.
Well, I am too. So we're syncing. We're in sync.
I love it.
The big value of the silver bullet, I'll ask that question because that gets him really thinking about Bill Anderson. Then I'll say, hey, just curious, what do you respect most about Bill? What do you respect most about Bill? That is power. That is because now he's like, damn it, I really got to think about him. Yeah, you do, because I need that for that relationship to start. And just an example of what some silver bullets are. These were gotten years ago. His name's Mark referred me to E.A.R.N.I.N.G. He said he's at my level, great guy. He had about 3 people under his team. Now he's got about 30. Good family guy, very progressive. He's not a meathead. Those are all silver bullets that I wrote down. Okay.
Not a meathead.
He's not a meathead. Yeah,
that's what people have to say about me, because I look like a meathead and act like a meathead.
It's funny you caught on to that.
Yeah.
When I called Aaron, and again, I'm a script guy. I said, "Hey, Aaron, it's Joe Pallo. We haven't actually met. Mark mentioned your name. He said you're not a meathead. 612-805-7576," and I hung up. Yeah. That's it. 15 minutes later, Mark called, became a good client, good friend, and he is a meathead. So that wasn't even accurate. He is a meathead. So.
Yeah, well, it's funny that I love the meathead thing, because I'm a meathead, but people are always shocked when they know like how good I am at what I do, or my job, or my professionalism, or the engineering part, or the design, or everything else. Like, this guy was just like a joker, practical. Even my son. So our kids have grown up in our business, and my youngest is in his early 20s. He goes, "Dad, until a couple of years ago," he goes, "I had no idea that you were like actually good at what you know. I saw you're always going on vacation or skiing or snowboarding or." But no, when it comes to business, and I hope somebody refers me as not a me if anything comes out of this podcast.
I mean, that is a silver bullet. No matter what, you call me. And here's another thing too.
Yeah.
When I get a referral, I don't count it unless I get a silver bullet. It's not worth it. I'm not going to call it. It's that valuable, because it blows up my ratios. But you'll get referrals calling you back.
Yeah.
Now that's a dangerous piece. And here's another little piece I coach on. Let's say you were the meathead, just hypothetically, and then I left a number and you called me back. I see it on my phone. It's you. And right now, I could maybe, let's say I had time to take the call. I won't run that call right then and there, because I've been burned too many hits. I don't know what's going on the other end of the call. I don't want to get halfway through the earning process and you say, "Hey, I'm jumping on a plane. Call me next week." I've lost it. I've lost all momentum.
Right.
So you call me back. I see it's you. I want to talk to you. You're a referral. I'll say, I'd pick up the phone and say, "Hey, Mark, thanks for calling back. I appreciate it. Hey, I apologize. I'm stepping into a meeting. Can we set up a time for next week?" I will not go into my sales call then. And I don't want it for tomorrow. I want it for next week, because I want it on your calendar. One, it elevates the importance of what I'm going to do. It gently puts me in control of the call. But also, you see my name on the calendar for a whole week, and you're like, "Oh, that guy called me a meathead." I'm in your brain. Haven't even started selling yet.
Right. That's a great. So the silver bullet is
a little bit of information that I know that an average Joe on the street doesn't know, given to me by the referee. And I get a couple on them each one, because I can leave 4 or 5 silver bullets.
Yeah.
That's 4 or 5 messages.
Yeah.
Yeah. Here's part you could use. You've got those old business cards we talked about. Let's say you have 5 names. They're good prospects. You've been referred to them. You've left a message. They're cold. They're icky. Every time you see, but you don't call the referee back and say, "Hey, 6 months ago, you referred me to Bill or whatever, and I was actually going to try to catch him call. Just curious, how long have you known him? What does he do now? Is he at your level? Yeah. Hey, what type of decision maker is Bill? Is he a numbers guy or is he a driver? Hey, what do you respect most about him?" Get a silver bullet on those old referrals.
I didn't get to write those down. I'll go back and listen to this and write it down. This whole thing, everything will be on the show notes, and the transcript and everything. So this is dynamite. And I think that follow-up, I mean, that's another thing that I do. And I'm shocked. Like, I have really professional salespeople. A lot of people in the commercial real estate industry. I mean, high-level sales. And I do that. If I get a referral, I call back. It's like, "Hey, Joe, you told me to call Nancy. I called her. We got a meeting scheduled for Tuesday." And when I close the sale, before I even tell my team or anyone else, I try to get back to that referral. It's like, "Hey, we did it. We got a meeting. We got their project on track, and we're rolling." And I don't know, it's gratitude, but it's also what are the other reasons that's good? I mean, I think that people aren't doing that, but share some of the other reasons that's mission critical.
I guess I look at it, reciprocity kicks in. I'm also a part of, I don't have a scarcity mindset. There's too much business out there. I give away business all the time. And I actually even tell my clients that, "Hey, take this we're coaching on and do it. You're going to take it anyway." So I even tell them how to do that.
Right.
Just here's an example. And we don't need to talk about this in the green room before, but I have a free download of the earning system. You go to convertsalesfaster.com,
Okay.
convertsalesfaster.com. There'll be a free download for the earning piece. You can download it, and I recommend printing it out, putting it right by your keyboard, and writing through that piece. But it's the generosity. What you give out comes back. Same with referrals.
Yeah,
So
generosity.
and if they give me that generosity, I got to tell them it's just the right way to do it. I appreciate it. I want more referrals, but it's the right thing to do. I always give feedback on it.
Yeah, and I've had a lot of people, the ones that refer more. That's the other thing. Like the people who give referrals will give you more referrals. So
Absolutely.
I've had that. And we did a data project with our business a few years ago, and it looked like so much of our business in the last 20 years is tied back to like 30 people, because they referred me to somebody, and then the referral people refer to people who are referral people. So
Yep.
so we're running towards the end here, and I'm having too much fun. But I wanted to ask you, is there any podcast that you're listening to? You have any favorite podcast or some tool or technology that you're using that you find interesting, or people should want
Well,
to?
the biggest thing that I'm doing, and I think it's transferable. Uh, I think you have to be able to gift something and give something away, and especially nowadays. So I started about a month ago. It's my old clients. I'm just gifting them a copy of my book.
Oh,
There's
nice.
no string. It's not it's a free copy of the book. And there's a handful of clients, and this is the part that I think it really resonates. They know me. They've worked with me. They know I deliver. I said, if you want, I'll give you an opportunity to gift 3 copies of How to Sell Nothing to 3 of your clients who would appreciate me. I'll do the shipping. I'll pay for the book. I'll write you a letter. You can put your fingerprints on. And basically say, hey, good friend of mine, Joe Pallo and coach, wrote a book. It's pretty good. Came in number 1 in 3 categories on Amazon. I liked it. Here's a copy. I said, we'll put your return address on it. We'll ship it out. And we'll even let you know. I'll have my admin give you a call when it ships. That works.
Nice.
So if you want to tip that idea of gifting someone, if they take the book, great, or whatever, that will generate a call. And I'm getting old clients calling me back. And again, I'm not trying to sell them anything, but I'm having a lot of good conversations.
I love that. I love that. And it ties back into the generosity piece.
Yeah.
So that is dynamite. Well, Joe, what would be the best place for people? I mean, I think anyone who's in sales, they should do that download of the earnings, and I'll have a link to that in the show notes. We'll put it
Sure.
top so anyone will be able to click on it. But
Yeah.
what's the best way for people to reach out to you? What's the best way to get in touch if they want to?
I would just go to my website, sellnothing.co. I've got LinkedIn, Facebook, a book appointment with me, and free downloads on there. Sellnothing.co. The .com.
Yeah.
I couldn't afford the M. Some Bitcoin company bought sellnothing.com. They wanted like 15 grand for the M. So,
Wow.
So it's sellnothing.co. They go there, they can connect with me there.
Okay, and we will have the link on the show notes and everything. Joe, this has been a lot of fun. Thank you for coming on and sharing some great. I'm dying to give you referrals. I'm actually the role playing worked. So thank you so much for being a great guest. This is a lot of fun.
Well, I've enjoyed it, and let's just go back. It all came because of Vicky, so we'll give her some credit again.
Yeah,
So,
dynamite. Thank you.
fun.
All right, awesome.
Thanks for listening to the Tao of Pizza podcast. We'll see you again next time, and be sure to click subscribe to get future episodes.